Hi, everybody. It's Kelly Russell, the Rock Your Joy Coach. Thank you so much for joining me today and welcome to my channel. So, my topic for this week is love or fear? Who is the boss of you? And this is a central teaching in A Course in Miracles. It says that there's only two emotions. Now, the ego mind would love for us to believe that there are a bazillion emotions because the ego mind likes to make everything so fucking complicated. But there are two, love and fear. And then in every situation, in every experience that we have, we are choosing to go through it from a place of love or from a place of fear. That's the guide that we are choosing to have us look at everything with, is either with the ego's fear or spirit's love. And depending on what you choose, it's going to make the experience completely different. And this is what we mean when we talk about creating our own reality. We're not talking about necessarily changing what appears to be happening in the world. We're talking about changing our mind. A Course in Miracles says, seek not to change the world, rather seek to change your mind about the world. And when you change your mind about the world, the crazy thing is the world appears to change. And why is that? That's because when we're looking from a place of fear, that's what we are projecting onto the world. We're projecting our own fear, and fear is then what is going to be reflected back to us in our experience, because we're creating this whole dream anyway. It's all coming from our minds. If we get that everything that I'm experiencing is coming from what I'm projecting into the world, and it's being shown back to me by the mirror of the world and everyone in it and all of my experiences, then when we project love into the world, we're going to experience a loving situation, as opposed to one that's being projected from a place of fear, which is going to be a fearful situation. And so they're going to be complete opposite in the way that they make us feel, in the way that we behave in the world, the way that we conduct ourselves, the way that we speak, our tone, our behavior. And that is what is going to change what comes back to us. And so my strong recommendation is to do some work around this. If you don't like what is happening in your world, if you don't like the situation that you're in, if you have issues in really any area of your life, it really doesn't matter what it is, you're coming from a place of fear rather than a place of love. And so you want to be able to learn to shift that. A Course in Miracles teaches the miracle itself is a shift in perception from fear to love. And so in my own life, a great example of this is that years ago, I was in a long-term relationship for many years, and the truth is that I knew on some level that that sacred contract was coming to an end, and I I knew that, but I didn't want to know it. I didn't want to take responsibility for it or own it consciously, because if I did, then I would have to do something about it. I would have to act on it. And I was too afraid. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to live on my own. I wouldn't be able to support myself. I didn't think I made enough money. I was I'm sure if I was conscious enough to really think about all the reasons, which I really wasn't, because I was in a lot of denial about it. I was really pushing it down and suppressing it and repressing it and just trying to not even acknowledge that I felt like that. But I think had I been honest with myself, I was afraid that the other person, this is in my hubris and my arrogance, I was afraid the other person would be hurt or devastated or not be able to live without me, whatever. Like, obviously I was thinking from a place of ego about the whole thing. So when it would drift across my consciousness, I would just do whatever I could to just not think about it and think about something else and move on and use all kinds of ego distractions. Well, so the way that it transpired, of course, because we're powerful creators. And so when we got something in our mind and we know that high self, that part of us, that Holy Spirit in our mind knows what is actually best for us, and that is the part of me that was speaking to me, that knew that I needed to move on and step into the next part of my life. So of course, what happened is that person broke up with me. Of course, right? I wasn't courageous enough to do it myself. I knew on some level it was the right thing to do, but I didn't have the, the capability or whatever. I had the capability. I just was listening to the wrong voice. And so I, even though this had been coming in and out of my awareness, I wasn't able at the time to say, I know you're right. I've been thinking about this too. I get it. I understand. You know, let's lovingly part company. Nope. I was shocked, devastated, stunned, panicked, and a fucking hot mess. And I I just didn't take responsibility or ownership for what I actually knew on some level to be true, because I was just immersed in too much fear. And so it got taken out of my hands, right, conveniently. And this is what happens when we're in a place of fear and we don't take that ownership and responsibility for what we really know on some level is our truth. Then it gets to be, we project that fear out on someone else, out into the world in some situation or person or whatever it is, and then it can be their fault and not ours. And so I could be a victim because I got broken up with, rather than, no, I didn't have the, the courage to know what the right decision was to make, and to hear the guidance, and to stand in love, and to trust it, to trust love, and say, I know that I'll be okay. I know that I will be taken care of. I know that this is what I've been guided to do. And Spirit's not going to guide me to do something that's right for me and then leave me hanging out in the wind. But that is what the ego mind tells us is going to happen. And so, there was a process to it. There was a grieving process. There was some back and forth. It took a while for it to kind of settle with me. But I did eventually acknowledge and really hear that message that this is what you wanted. This is, that this is true for you. And you've just been choosing with fear instead of choosing with love, and that you are actually going to be fine. He's going to be fine. You can, you're parting friends, which we did, thankfully. And there's something better for you. There's something better for him. You did your work together. You did what you came into the world to do together, but there is something waiting for you. There's something coming towards you, and it's going to be great. And so over time, I was able to open to that possibility and just trust it and make my peace with it. One of the things that was really helpful for me was a line in the Course in Miracles in chapter 18, the passing of the dream, and it's part 3, which is called The Light in the Dream. It's in the 3rd paragraph, and it says, if you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. And that brought me a lot of comfort and a lot of reassurance that I didn't have to be afraid, because Spirit is walking beside me, has got my back, is guiding me, is showing me the way. And so the kind of moral of that story is that probably about 8 months afterward, I met my next partner, who is my current partner and has been for many years now, and is a wonderful man, and just lights me up every day, and is really the person that I was being called toward, and that I needed to be with in order for the next aspect of my life to unfold. I was making a transition in my life at that time. At the time of the breakup, I was just starting to open a private counseling practice as a psychotherapist, and the journey with my present partner has been to evolve through that and beyond it, and to become a minister and a teacher and a coach of A Course in Miracles, which is, you know, he's the love of my life, and this is the other love of my life. That I now am experiencing these two loves of my life, these two things that just make me so happy to be involved with, and that I don't see that they would have been able to happen had that change and that transition not happened in my life. And so in choosing love, eventually choosing to trust spirit, choosing love, choosing to know that I would always be taken care of, and that I could be joyful, and I could rest in peace and rest in God, and know that spirit's on the field. He knows what he's doing. I don't have to try to manage it all, nor can I. That I can come from a place of love, and the most miraculous life can unfold. The most crazy, amazing synchronicities and serendipities and people and circumstances that I could have never imagined. So that's my message for you today, is that if you're in a place of fear, if there's something where you're being guided, you have an intuition, you have an inner knowing, or you're getting messages that you need to be doing something different, you're being called to something higher, there's something that you need to lovingly let go of in order to step into the fullness of who you were meant to be and what you were meant to do, that fear is what you're choosing, and love is going to bring you into such a much more of a place of joy, and really just a miraculous place. And so this is what I do every day. It's why I love what I do, because in coaching from the perspective of A Course in Miracles, I've seen so many people go from a place where they're not happy, to a place of where they are joyful, and they're living on purpose, and they're living in alignment with love, and being guided by spirit, and refusing to continue to choose with fear. So if that's you, and if there's something that you would like help with, and you think that coaching with me might be something that would be interesting to you, click on the button below and schedule a free discovery call with me. It's a call that's an actual coaching call. We work on something that you have going on in your life, and you can hear about my coaching packages and see if that might be something that would be helpful to you. So, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, click on the subscribe button below. I'm here every week talking about the practical application of the psychology of A Course in Miracles. So thanks again for joining me today, and I'll see you next week. I love you.